Hello and welcome. My name is Mark Sen Gupta with ARC. We're here with Elias Panasuik. He's the Senior Director of Offer Enablement with Schneider Electric. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Sure. Well, let me start off with a question for you. What accomplishments in 2024 have led to some key initiatives that further improve your value proposition to your customers in 2025?
2024 was a very exciting year, not just from our perspective, from Schneider Electric, but really from the market in general, and what our customers have been louder and louder in terms of demanding. And we, hearing it today and yesterday at your forum here, and I'm sure we'll continue to hear a lot of those same themes. And really, the drive for efficiency at every single stage of the process. So whether we're on a pre-FID decision long before, when it's just a whiteboard thinking about a new project, coming up with tools and solutions that we can use to address challenges like that. And we found really effectively to be able to combine our power of process simulation and electrical simulation to pull together what we call co-simulation to answer some of those questions. Is electrification worth it? Does a specific investment make economic sense in the long term? Is equipment sized properly? Some of those fundamentals that, again, go back down to what is the viability of really moving something forward. And once we're kind of through that phase, we also really focused on, how do we operationally then eliminate the silos between power and process domains? Cutting down on the confusion when you have separate systems with maybe different time clocks, different sequence of events logs. And we released, as part of our Foxborough suite of products, the electrodynamic controller last year, which again serves to bridge those two domains of your power and your electrical network, and then your process control network, and being able to, again, both bring the data together, common log, and run interlocks between those as well. We talked this morning, again here at your event, about some of the advancements that we've done using AI. And not AI for the sake of a buzzword or for the sake of doing it, but really pragmatically looking at how can we use that type of modeling capability in specific process safety challenges, and that's specific around HAZOP, and being able to rigorously then construct both a data model and challenge that data model to identify risks that are common across an entire enterprise or an entire series of projects. And we're kind of early stage with a lot of that, but as we have some customers that are now giving feedback, some proof of concept work that's starting, I'm really excited to see what that's going to lead into. And thinking a bit more on that theme around AI, we've been doing a lot with our EcoStruxure Automation Expert platform over the last several years. 2024, no exception. Our install base doubled when it comes to adoption and the number of projects that are now deployed. And we just can see that continuing. That trend of open automation, I don't think it's a trend anymore. It's really, again, where the market's demanding that we all as vendors go to. And with that, thinking a little bit about that AI topic in there, we're also exploring ways that we can use like Copilot-like functionality. Again, not necessarily to run a plant strictly on AI, but how can we cut down on some of the engineering time? Be able to generate function blocks, generate graphics, getting more creative and less, not thinking so monolithic about, how these systems and tools are constructed, but getting more creative and, okay, well, what does make sense, again, in the context of process control? So a lot of momentum from all of that. Again, it's opened up new markets for us in green hydrogen, and as well in some of our traditional markets like mining and water and wastewater. I mean, the problems are all very common regardless of end user market. Just the execution and the tools you use maybe alter slightly.
That announcement on the AI and safety was very fascinating.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what is your company doing to provide customers with product solutions and services needed to accelerate their energy transition goals and to become more sustainable, energy efficient, meet their ESG goals, as well as operationally efficient and resilient?
Yeah, great question. And Schneider, for a long time, we've talked about sustainability, about how we both treat our own operations, because we have manufacturing scattered around the globe. We have a lot of challenges when it comes to how do we design a product with circularity in mind and making advancements there. And about 10, 15 years ago, really the push came down to us as part of, various business units of, well, how can we apply that, again, in maybe some of our more traditional markets, like energy management, like process control and automation. And, again, listening to the market, listening to what our customers are challenged by. It goes back to that same efficiency discussion, like I mentioned just a few minutes ago, but the execution of that and the outcomes that are expected really around decarbonization, around sustainment of asset. So, how long can you extend an operating life of an asset? Can you extend out maybe a maintenance period without taking an unnecessary risk? And, we've recognized a need through all of that one of the fastest pathways to decarbonization is electrification. If you're burning coal today to run part of your process, can that be electrified from a more sustainable source or a transition source like natural gas? And then what is the impact going to be then on your network? And, we in recognizing this, I mentioned our co-simulation software platform earlier. A tool is not enough. It's the expertise and the domain knowledge is very, very important. So we created a process electrification consulting group to specifically go and work with industrial customers to help answer some of these questions. That feasibility question, safety, reliability, what is going to be the impact on your electrical or your process control network, probably both, of making such a huge change in terms of what you're using for an energy source. And that's also really kind of given us a lot of direction from those same types of customers on the industrial side of how we can use some of the tools that we've developed in our sustainability consulting group, which we've also been doing for quite some time. And a lot of their focus was around the building market, around manufacturing plants and industries like that. So applying some of the same both process and some of the same software tools in terms of, well, how do you accurately measure emissions from an industrial plant? How do you measure the energy intensity on a per unit basis? How much energy was used to make this barrel of chemical product? How much energy was used to make my case of soda, right? And that demand, really then we've seen a big push for using tools like Aviva Unified Operations Center, where we can dashboard all of this and customers can make quick decisions in terms of energy supply. Do I use renewables? Do I consume more power and ramp up production? Do I sell that power or curtail my production? And being able to give all of those insights in real time. And one of the other pillars with all of this is, here in the US specifically, we partnered with the Carlyle Group about 5 years ago, to create a company called Alpha Structure. And what that is providing microgrids as a service for industrial customers. Okay. So going and actually taking some of these challenges, like I mentioned, around electrification, energy supply, feasibility of doing those projects, and we run that as a service model. So we take the responsibility for the initial capital costs, we manage the maintenance, and then our customers are getting a fixed cost for that renewable energy. And some of the projects we've done have really, again, both opened our eyes to new potential markets where they're underserved by ourselves and some of our competitors, and opening up some of those doors to really then be able to go and effectively apply some of these other tools and some of these other ways of thinking into those types of facilities.
Great. Now you mentioned expertise a little earlier in your answer. Many companies cite workforce issues as one of their continuing challenges, right? We've been talking about this for over a decade with retirements, et cetera. How does the software-defined approach that you've mentioned help customers overcome these lack of workers, as well as help augment the existing workers to bring them up to speed?
Yeah, the challenge, like you mentioned, we've been talking about it for about a decade. I didn't have any gray in my beard when we started talking about it, and now I'm part of it. But the facts are pretty staggering. If you look at the number of graduates, just use North America as an example, number of chemical, industrial, civil, and mechanical engineer graduates in a given year is about half of the amount of computer science graduates. And we have as an industry, obviously that engineering pool of talent is so important. And it is so important to make sure that knowledge, discipline, expertise is being able to be brought in by us, by our customers, by yourselves. I mean, the entire industry relies heavily on that. But we haven't necessarily adjusted the tools or the ways of architecting solutions to that computer science crowd, to that huge talent pool, and also comes with access to different types of technologies that, again, have been underserved, I would say, in the automation space. And a big part of our open automation strategy is around this exact opportunity of being able to use IT-based tools and systems in the OT environment, and not just with simple interfaces or device connections, because that's gone on for a long time, but really from the ground up is being able to use IT programming languages, be able to use that type of software development environment and IT-like systems when they actually do and get deployed, that then service the needs of retaining talent and getting new people in the building to help manage that. But also on the operator side, you have the same challenge. A lot of people are retiring, so being able to capture knowledge is challenging. And the new people coming in, regardless of their background, obviously don't have the same level of experience. So the both interoperability of the system becomes very important, but the operator experience in all of that, not just the programming interface and what goes into the front end, but then the operator experience in all of that, to then be able to make decisions, to act quickly, to operate safely, all the things that operations responsible for. So that sort of umbrella is really, to us, very, very important, and to preserve not only, again, that knowledge and talent, but also challenge ourselves, right? Bringing in, fresh faces, fresh technologies, and then really analyzing, can we make use of this? And I mentioned a little bit earlier about leveraging, AI tools around data analytics, being able to dashboard different things. Again, ensuring that this is architected and designed from the ground up, and not as here's another connector, here's another driver, here's another afterthought. But then you have something cohesive that 20 years from now, when we're talking about that current workforce set of challenges, you've got some preservation of technology there.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate that. This has been a conversation with Elias Panasuik of Schneider Electric. Thank you so much.